$80 million awarded to a man because he was falsely accused and convicted for murder. Here's the thing. He won't see it because, well, he passed on. But the estate, the family, they will. Put it up, full mass. I have a story to tell you. A federal jury awarded $80 million to the estate of Mr. Darryl Boyd. You need to know the story of Mr. Boyd. He was wrongly convicted. His conviction was due to a 1976 murder. It was overturned after he spent nearly a quarter century in prison for something that he never did. So Darryl Boyd, one of the group of Black teenagers arrested for the murder of Mr. William Crawford, sometimes called the Buffalo Five, filed a lawsuit in 2022 seeking damages and alleging Buffalo police investigators and Erie County prosecutors had failed to disclose more than a dozen pieces of evidence that pointed to other suspects. That's called against the law. The lawsuit also alleged that investigators coerced witnesses to give false statements pointing to Boyd, and that prosecutors committed summation misconduct, that is, a felony against the law, making inappropriate or false comments in their closing arguments. That's called perjury. And it is against the law. So the only lawbreakers are the public servants who are paid taxpayer dollars to seek justice. They are the only lawbreakers in this story. There's more. Quote, if not for the misdeeds of defendants, Mr. Boyd would not have been prosecuted, convicted, and imprisoned in violation of his constitutional rights, and would not have spent 45 years asserting his innocence and fighting for his liberty in connection with the crime that he did not commit. Or his attorney wrote this in the lawsuit. Spokesperson for the Erie County Executive, Mark Poloncarz, said the county extends its sympathy to Boyd's family. But, you know, good old Mark here, he says, listen, man, 80 million is just way too much. Yeah. So the county is going to appeal, according to Mark, who's right there, spokesperson. After a 2.5-week trial, the federal jury in the Western District of New York took about an hour to return the massive verdict, billed by attorneys as one of the largest monetary awards for wrongful conviction in the U.S. So he's going to appeal. Why is he appealing? Because he believes that the monetary allocation is too much. Well, Mark, how much would you say 45 years of your life is worth? You see, he's not seeing a dime. He's moved on to his next evolution. He's passed on. So the family, who, by the way, they were robbed, Mark. They were robbed of this kind, gentle man because you took his childhood away. The county that you represent. So what's the figure? What's the amount? After Boyd was released from prison, he spent another 2 decades on parole before his conviction was actually vacated by a judge in 2021. The county opted not to retry Boyd or John Walker Jr., whose conviction in the case was also vacated. A third man convicted in the killing, Mr. Darren Gibson, was released from prison in 2008 and died a year later. One of the other teens was acquitted at trial. And the fifth teen testified against the others, which Boyd's attorney said newly released case files show, well, that child was coerced. Both Boyd and Walker, has settled their case against the city of Buffalo for about $4.7 million each. Walker won a $28 million verdict against the county earlier this year, which the county has appealed. Quote, he lost his whole adult life to this wrongful conviction. The jury heard just how many years he was suffering in maximum security prison. All the terrible things you assume happen in prison, said Ross Fierstenbaum, an attorney with Wilmer Hill, one of the three firms representing Boyd's estate. So Fierstenbaum said being released on parole was just as hard for Boyd, who suffered from PTSD, anxiety, and other ailments. He struggled to keep or get a job because of the conviction and eventually began self-medicating and developed a substance abuse addiction. He was a baby inside of a prison of hardcore individuals who were adults, wrongfully convicted at that, proclaiming his innocence from behind bars, a teenager with no roots to control or guide his fate in that system. His mother and son attended the trial every day, according to the attorney. Boyd was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer and died in 2023 before the trial could be held. The county argued his substance abuse was the cause of his problems, not the 27 or so years he spent wrongfully in prison, and understand it's more than 27 because parole is prison as well. And that's offensive, according to the attorney, and the jury recognized that and responded with this verdict. He added that the attorneys had proven there was a pattern and practice of misconduct at the time of the convictions, not just a misdeed by one employee. Now you got pattern and practices. You have negligent hire, negligent retention, corruption. You have witness intimidation, witness coercion. You have perjury. You have falsification of evidence. All of these things are illegal. And while it is shameful that the county is appealing any decision that would provide equitable remedy for this family, what's also shameful is that no one in that jurisdiction is talking about the context of criminality that led to the false conviction of an innocent man. It was criminal. These words of misconduct, summation, etc. No. That's criminal. It's against the law. It's against the law. And you deprive another human being of liberty, property, freedom. That's against the law. And until counties or jurisdictions start actually going after those who are public servants but violating the very oath they took in order to incarcerate citizens and rip away their constitutional rights, until they start going after them and prosecuting them, you will see this continue to happen because they have no true incentive not to. They are not held accountable when they do. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm happy and sad for the Boyd family. You know, they lost their loved one. The monetary enumeration, hopefully they get to see it. I mean, with the county appealing, no longer they'll try to hold up giving the family that money. In fact, they need to totally clean house. I mean, I would not be appealing. I would be looking to systems that are in place that created that type of environment. And beyond Boyd, all the other young men that you named, it kind of reminds me, I mean, it's different circumstances, but of what happened to the Scottsboro boys as well. You know, definitely different situation, but similar in that you had young Black men that the system failed. The system not only failed, railroaded, literally railroaded these young Black men, in the same in this case too. And your heart has the ache. And your point to the county representative, yeah, how much? And what kind of calculator you're using? to determine how much this man's family deserves. I really am curious as to what calculator he's using. You can never, the Boyd family, and I know Mr. Boyd is gone, but you can never get that time back. Even if he were still alive, the abuse that he endured, you can never, ever, ever get it back. But we were talking about President Trump not having the shame gene. I don't see any shame here with these representatives of this county either.
Yeah, at all. And I have to submit, you may not see this kind of heavy-handedness from a county that knows they're wrong without the current politics we have at play. The current politics have something to do with how these things shape out locally. All right,
Yeah.
we'll bring you updates as they come.